Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Now that we've gone over the conditions in which authoritarian states emerged and the methods used by the Nazi Party to come to power, we now need to talk about what they do now that they have power. So, Nazi Germany and everything we've learned up to this point is just edging our way up. Now they're in power, and what are they going to do? So this is broken down into two major categories and 3 bullet points. The first category is consolidation, which is all about how the country or how the new Nazi government brought all of the power that they had together, how they reduced it so that all the power came onto them. So they were the only ones who held power. And by extension, the things Hitler did to ensure that he held the most power within the Nazi Party. Whether that's the use of legal methods, force, charismatic leadership, propaganda, the treatment of opposition, or foreign policy. The second component is maintenance. Now that they had all of this power, and now that they brought all this power to them, where Hitler consolidated, brought all that power to him, how is he going to keep it? How is he going to fight against anyone who tries to take it away from him? That is the second category here. Traditionally, when we're looking at consolidation of power, we're looking at events that happened in the first few years that he came to power. Usually, I would say this is between 1933, when Hitler is elected into the Reichstag, and after the Night of the Long Knives by the middle of 1934, which we will get into in the following videos. And everything post 1934, 1935 is the maintenance of power, the things Hitler did and the Nazi Party did to continue to ensure that they had power so that no one could challenge them. So when we're going through these videos, when we're going through the examples, the key thing here you're going to need to listen for is if it's before 35, it's consolidation. If it's after 35, it's maintenance. And that's going to be a really big deal as we move on to later and bigger events. Now, those are the two categories. What are the examples that you need to know? Well, that's what these 3 bullet points here on this slide are. The first one is all direct actions that are categorized in different, not necessarily attacks, but different approaches. The first is the use of legal methods, which essentially means that what did the Nazi Party do? What did Hitler do legally that was fully in agreement with the law that helped him achieve power? The use of force is very similar to the use of force that we know with the methods used to emerge. However, this is, now that they have the power, what use of force are they doing to keep it? Charismatic leadership is all about how charismatic Hitler was and how he was very convincing, very persuasive, and in a way like a lovable character or a godlike figure that allowed people or convinced people to think, yeah, Hitler's the guy and the Nazi Party is the people we want to work with. And the dissemination of propaganda. This is a little complicated because when we're thinking of dissemination, essentially what that means is to spread out, to send this propaganda and the effective ways and methods that they do that. And for the Nazis, they used, as we're going to see, posters, radios, and newspapers, but they're also going to utilize a new form of media, which is film. And we're going to get into that in the following videos. The next bullet point is nature, extent, and treatment of opposition. What exactly is nature? Well, in this sense, nature means who are they? The who, what, when. What did they do? Where are they at? Who are they? It's just the very basic things. It's not referring to literal nature. It's not referring to trees or things like that. It's just who they are. Extent refers to how far did they go? What did they do? How did they do it? How far did they resist or oppose the Nazi government? And treatment is once caught or once, well, caught, yeah, how were they punished? How were they treated? Was it jail time, public execution, or were they not caught? So this bullet point here has to deal with who they are, how far they did something, and how they were treated, and what the result was of their treatment. The last one is the impact of the success and or failures of foreign policy on the maintenance of power. Now for this, when we're talking about the impacts of foreign policy, it's all about how one country interacts with another. In this case, it's how Nazi Germany interacted with multiple other countries. And we're going to look at peace treaties, non-aggression treaties, annexations, and whether Hitler's going to stay true to his word in the revoking of the Treaty of Versailles. Now, if you notice, this bullet point also says the success and or failure. You're going to have to decide whether the successes of these groups, or these policies, or the results of these policies helped Hitler stay in power, or if it hurt his government, which is a really tricky thing when we think about how we're going to analyze this, because something could be very successful in terms of Hitler's growth and invasion of another country, if you will, but ultimately later on down the line be an ultimate failure because, you know, he loses power, he loses his government or his ability. Now, that is something you will have to analyze, and we're going to talk about this in class and go over this and debate on the lasting extent of his foreign policy. This is also, just to take a very important note here, this bullet point here is also all of the information you need to know for paper 1, which we've gone over in a separate video. So all of this is the exact overlapping information that you have already started to learn just from the Nazi perspective versus the more global perspective.